In the late 1700s, a sailor named William Morris heard a tale that refused to leave him. A captain spoke of lands no map showed, a world sealed by colossal ice walls at the edge of the seas. Not endless emptiness, but a passage leading somewhere else. The story consumed him. Maurice sold what he had, bought a ship, and convinced a small crew to sail into the unknown. Months of storms tested them. Torn sails, dwindling food, bitter cold. Many wanted to turn back. But Morris pushed forward, driven by the promise of something beyond the horizon. Then one morning, their world changed. Before them rose a barrier of ice, a wall higher than any cathedral, stretching endlessly in both directions. The crew stood in silence. This was the boundary. They circled for days, searching for an opening until the sea itself took control. A powerful current surged beneath the hull, dragging the ship forward. Men panicked. The vessel was pulled between cliffs of ice, battered by waves, tossed like a toy in the hands of giants. Then, silence. The storm fell away. The air grew warm. The sailors found themselves sailing on a calm, open sea. The sun glowed differently, casting strange colors across the sky. They had crossed the ice walls. What lay before them was not Antarctica, as they had been told, but an ocean leading into a world no mapmaker had ever drawn. And soon, on the horizon, something impossible began to take shape. A colossal craft, moving silently across the water. And a meeting that would change everything they believed about our world. Sailors stood in stunned silence, the strange skies glowing red and gold above them. Then, from the horizon, something impossible appeared. A colossal craft, gliding silently over the sea. No sails, no smoke, no sound. It seemed to move with the very breath of the ocean itself. Panic swept the deck. Some sailors clutched their muskets. Others fell to their knees. William Morris could only watch, transfixed, as the vessel drew closer. Figures emerged, tall men in white suits, gleaming in the light. They raised a flag, blue, with a single white circle at its center. Their voices rang out in perfect English. "Welcome, visitors from the walled lands." The sailors were escorted, their ship guided by the silent craft until the shoreline rose before them. And there, stretching out across the coast, they saw it. A city unlike anything known on Earth. Towers of crystal light rising into the sky. Streets aglow without lamps or fire. Silent machines gliding effortlessly along wide avenues. This was El Arca, the Ark, the capital of the ancestral republic. Here, Morris and his men discovered a world without money, without politics, without war. Resources were shared. Harmony reigned. They met citizens who looked not weary but radiant. People living not for decades, but for centuries. Lifespans of 240 years were common. And as the sailors wandered those glowing streets, a thought haunted them. What if humanity inside the ice walls had been denied this life? What if suffering, war, and decay were not our fate, but our prison? Inside the glowing halls of El Arca, President Fail revealed the truth. The world the sailors had known, their nations, their wars, their histories, was not the whole of creation. It was only the first dome, a prison land, sealed by walls of ice. Well, those walls were not nature's work. They were raised by the custodians. Fail described them as the hidden rulers, beings remembered in myth as sun gods, descending from the heavens to command men. But their light was never freedom. It was control. They are not native to the known lands. They came from beyond colonizers, seizing dominion after wars with the giants and the great Tartarian Empire. Their power is maintained through resets. When civilizations rise too high, when knowledge spreads too far, the custodians strike. Plagues sweep across nations. Floods drown whole continents. Wars are ignited. Fire rains from the sky. Entire ages are erased, leaving only ruins and myths. After each reset, only the young remain, children too small to remember the world before. History begins again, rewritten by design. The sailors listened as Fail explained that this cycle has repeated countless times. The pyramids, the buried cities, The myths of golden ages, these are the scars of earlier worlds wiped away when humanity grew close to breaking free. But our prison is not the whole earth. Beneath the vast canopy of the Great Dome lies not one or two, but at least 178 distinct lands. Each one is a circle of its own, divided by barriers, yet all part of a greater design. They are not isolated, they are connected. Seas stretch across the plain, flowing from one realm to another, only to be cut by towering walls of ice or barriers unseen. Between them lie hidden channels of helium rivers, currents of energy and light, moving not like water, but like breath itself, linking worlds through invisible tides. And then there are the portals, the gateways that open at appointed times, when alignments above and forces below meet. Some are guarded by the custodians, sealed tight from human eyes. Others lie forgotten, hidden in remote places, waiting to be crossed by those who know the signs. Together, these seas, these currents, these portals, bind the 178 lands into one vast whole beneath the dome, a lattice of circles within circles, a hidden map of creation. And we, trapped inside the first enclosure, were never meant to see it. Beyond them are the most mysterious of all, the celestial lands. Realms so sacred that even the custodians cannot pass their gates. Morris and his men stood shaken to their core. The globe they had been taught to believe in was a fiction. A people ruled, recycled, and forgotten. Prisoners of the custodians, generation after generation. Morris and his men had seen the city of light, they had heard the truth of the custodians and the 178 lands. But Fail told them still more. Stories older than pyramids, older than any scripture they had known. Before the custodians ruled, there were the Anakim, giant humans, some over 4 meters tall. They walked as guardians of mankind, leading survivors through resets, teaching them how to live again after fire and flood. Legends in the known lands remembered them dimly, but here their presence was spoken of as fact. The sailors were shown a book, said to have been gifted by a giant woman named Shiki. Within it were maps of forgotten worlds, records of races and treaties even with the Anunnaki. The giants had not been myths. They had been leaders, allies, and sometimes warriors. Together with humankind they had built a great civilization, Tartary. A realm powered not by fire or fuel, but by free energy drawn from the earth and sky. Towers and cathedrals were not temples, Fail explained, but engines of resonance, shaping light and sound into power. For a time, Tartary and the giants stood against the custodians. Their machines lit cities, their fleets stretched across the lands. They came close to breaking the prison, but the custodians struck back. Resets, wars, floods, and finally, the burying of their cities beneath mud and ruin. Tartary was erased, its memory scattered into rumor and dust. And Fail spoke of something darker still. The custodians had not only trapped the known lands behind walls, they had also poisoned them. The very air, food, and water had been tainted, ensuring that men grew weak, lived short lives, and died sick. In the Republic, lifespans stretched past 2 centuries. In the known lands, few reached 1. This, Fail said, was no accident. It was design. Yet even in the shadow of control, seeds of rebellion remained. Maps smuggled back across the ice, carried in secret by those who had crossed. The custodians feared only one thing, that memory itself could not be fully erased. And one day, those whispers may ignite. Stories of giants, of Tartary, of lands beyond the walls, fanned into flame until the forgotten truth sparks a revolution, until mankind, once more, dares to fight back. When Morris and his men finally returned to their own shores, they carried more than stories of strange seas and shining cities. They carried a revelation, that Antarctica was not the end of the world, but the gate to it. A gate beyond which lay giants, lost civilizations, and 178 lands beneath the dome of heaven.